Hello and welcome to the Early Years Network. My name's Ben Jones and today we're talking STEM. Probably my favourite subject in the world of early years, but also a subject a lot of people struggle to incorporate into their early years provision. It can often seem a bit daunting and practitioners can often be scared of engaging with areas of STEM. It can also seem boring. Maybe it brings back memories of school and having to sit in drab science lessons and the only fun element is playing with the old Bunsen burners. And it can also seem as something that we struggle to get children to engage with. We struggle to get them motivated to join in and enjoy the activities that we've set aside and created in the name of STEM and science, technology, engineering and maths. They sound quite drab, boring, old subjects, I guess, but this doesn't need to be the case. You see, STEM can easily be the subject that sets a light of curiosity, imagination, wonder, awe inside a child's brain. With the use of STEM as a leading subject, there's so many different avenues that we can take to encourage children to go outside of their norm, to venture away from their typical interests, to venture away from the typical ways of learning and playing and discover new ways the world works, to discover new elements of the world that previously they didn't even know existed, to discover new mysteries and unlock knowledge and information that otherwise wouldn't be possible for them. Now, a lot of the things that you cover and a lot of the ways we're going to discuss this and pose this might go over the top of their heads, but by introducing them to the fabric of the world and the way the world works, we're slowly but surely starting to build that foundation. When we later talk about STEM and some of the areas, we talk about space, or we talk about the creation of foods and farming and whatever you want to talk about. They're not going to become experts in all of this area that you talk about overnight. Children aren't going to wake up suddenly and go, yes, I understand astronomy. I understand why the Earth spins on an axis. I understand about the way the gravitational pull from the sun works. That's not going to happen overnight. But by talking about concepts like this and by opening them up to the way the world works and talking about science and biology or talking about engineering and the way bridges are built and things like that, we're beginning to open up this understanding. We're starting on the very foundational path of information. They don't need to understand it all fully in depth. And even if you talk about the structure and the construct of a bridge, eventually they'll come to understand bridges and the formation of it. You get the blocks out and they begin to build the bridge themselves. They are starting on that pathway of learning, as opposed to just continuously following a child's interests. And today Charlie plays with the cars. Tomorrow Charlie's going to play with the cars. We also plan to follow a child's interests. So Charlie likes cars. So yeah, I guess Thursday, Friday, we'll probably also do cars. Following a children's interest is pivotal. It's a foundation of what we do in early years. It's really, really damn important. But it's not the be-all and end-all. It's really important to strike a balance between following a children's interests and exposing them to new information, exposing them to how the world works, exposing them to things that otherwise they didn't know existed. So how would it be an interest of theirs? If you're planning and your early years education is purely governed by the things that the children already know and show a liking to, then the whole time they're with us, we're not opening their horizon, their understanding and their fundamental brain constructs to what is out there. The brain is a predictive organ. And what do I mean by a predictive organ? Well, the brain takes on experience. It takes on an understanding of itself, introception, how it's feeling at that time. And the combination of these two things helps the brain fire off constant predictions, milliseconds. You're constantly making predictions about the environment around you and how you feel. And this combination is what gives you emotions. It's what gives you logic. It's what gives you an understanding of what is going on. Now, you can have predictive error, and predictive error comes from a lack of prior understanding, a lack of prior experience, which you've then used these experiences to extrapolate and create concepts and to create and to put things into categories. When I talk about categories, you can think of things like vehicles. Now, there's lots of different types of vehicles. Vehicles can have wheels. Vehicles can also not have wheels when we talk about boats. But our understanding of what a vehicle is categorized in that bracket. I'm going off the point a little bit here, but in general, children take experience and build their understanding of the world. They create this conceptual framework within their brain through neurological circuits to provide them with a framework to understand the world around them. Now, why is this important? It's because their experiences is what provides them this conceptual framework. So if their experiences in early childhood, when their brain is most moldable, neuroplasticity is at its highest point, so the construct of the brain is in its ripest stage to be constructed and formulated. This then is what we need to build. We need to build up this framework through their experiences. And this is where I'm getting at, when following children's interests, yes, is really, really important. It helps us get greater motivation from them, greater engagement with what they're doing. And it also gives them a safety blanket, comfort, especially if a child has just, let's say, transitioned from the twos into a preschool room, a busy preschool room. Letting them over that period of time engage with things that they're familiar with and play with things that gives them that warmth, security and comfort. You're not going to get me ripping away from them saying they need to study STEM. But over time, as we start to go through our curriculum with that individual child, we start to build up their confidence to engage with other areas of our curriculum. We start challenging them in different ways. And the benefits of what we're going to get onto in lesson 1. So when we go into this lesson, I want you to think about and challenge your perspective over your planning, your curriculum, your environment, why you do certain things, and think about how you can incorporate STEM into your classroom. It's not going to happen overnight. Children aren't going to go from not engaging with these things to fully engaging with things overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take repetition. And what you'll find is probably it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. And children then start to understand how to think critically, analyze information, engage with these things in different ways. And equally, we get better as educators at dealing with these topics and how our children best respond to it. And again, the more your class change and you get different children with it, so too with the way you have to think about these things and how the way your pedagogy changes to shape around the children. Let's jump into lesson 1 now and look at the benefits of what STEM can bring us and have a little look more into detail about what STEM is.